everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Good Trouble. And this is a great event that we're doing for HBCUs and combining with HBCU heroes. We have a very esteemed panel, and we're going to express the art of debate. Debate is something that in our society right now we haven't been able to really see it being done correctly. We've seen the wrong way to debate done, all the time when we look on the TV. So what we're going to do is we're going to all debate. We have a esteemed panel. I'm going to go through them very quickly because we don't have a lot of time. My name is Etan Thomas, former NBA player, author, actor, poet, activist. We have Talent, the comedian, one of the kings of comedy. He's a great brother. He's going to be doing big things. Going to be starting a tour soon, and he's doing part of Fly TV, which I'm also a part of. Much respect to him. We got Fredro Starr from Onyx. I grew up listening to him. I know before every game, that's who I was bumping. I even turned my son on to Onyx right now, so he be bumping you right now. And oh, by the way, he wants you to do a remix of The Last Days. We both want you to do a remix of The Last Days, but he wants it to be featuring Kodak Black, Lil Baby, and Youngboy. I said it should be J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Ice Cube, and Kweli. But we both want you to do a remix regardless. We got Chris Broussard. This brother, I've been with him in the trenches from Rikers Island to, doing the panel discussions during All-Star Weekend. He's a great brother with Fox Sports right now and the King Movement. Love him to death. Always support him. He always supports me. And then we have Emerald Garner, the daughter of Eric Garner. She's, working on her next book, her first book. She's doing a lot of great things in the community, pushing for laws to be changed. And I have nothing but respect for her as well. So we're going to jump right into it. And this is my first question, all right? So the first question is, right now in this current climate, is it a good time to gather in any way, shape, or form, whether we're talking about protests and marches, whether we're talking in rallies, whether we're talking about the NBA start down in Orlando, whether we're talking about hip-hop concerts or comedy shows, because of coronavirus concerns? That's my question. Now you have a lot of different mixed information going out. Some people are opening, some people are closing. There's a lot of things, that are going on. My position myself is that nothing should be open. That's my personal position. I think it's too risky right now. I hear the president talking every time, trying to push for economic reasons, wanting everybody he just did a speech, at Mount Rushmore. Nobody needed a mask, nobody, anything like that. I think it's crazy. But that's my personal position. And I want to start off, we're gentlemen here, so we're going to start off with the lady of the group, Emerald. And I want to kick it right to you and ask you right now, do you think it's a good time for people to be, I'll say, protesting in marches and rallies with coronavirus concerns? That's my question.
I want to say thank you so much for having me on this platform and allowing me to be a part of this discussion. I think for gathering right now, it's very, it's like a hit and miss kind of thing, because we want everybody to protest, we want everybody's voices to be heard, but then we have to worry about this vicious virus that's attacking and killing mainly Black people. So I always, I've been saying, we have to risk our lives to save our lives, because, although, we had to lose someone else, George Floyd, and have massive protests again, like we had in 2014, this time is much more dangerous. So I just say everybody is putting their life at risk. Like either way, whether you wear a mask, have hand sanitizer, you're still putting yourself at risk because you're close to other people, you're in a large gathering, and yeah, you're outside, but you can't really protect yourself because we still don't even know how it spread. So they could say it's spread in your breath, it's spreading in the air, or whatever it is. It's still out there, and it's killing Black people mainly. So I think that it's a good idea, but then again, I think everybody should just go home and do things the virtual way right now, at least for now, because now that we're opening up, everything is spiking back up. So I think right now, people shouldn't gather. I want people to protest. I want people to hit the streets, but try to remain as far apart as you can, because it's getting super real outside.
And that's the tricky part about it, because you want to be able to gather. We saw Dave Chappelle have his special, and people were kind of separated, and there was a way that could do it. And I want to kick it to you, Talent, right now.
Right.
Talent, are you comfortable going back and doing shows right now? I mean, Dave Chappelle kind of saw how it could be done. It wasn't an extensively long
Mm-hmm.
set that he did. But how would you be able to do that right
I mean, but then
Well,
we saw DL Hughley, who I'm sorry,
now? Right,
we
right.
saw
correct.
DL Hughley, who was traveling around being safe, and then he tested positive for COVID, and he was
And he
doing the
fainted.
safe things and staying. Yeah, and then he fainted because he didn't know. So imagine if he
Right.
didn't faint, the people that he would have come in contact with because he doesn't have symptoms.
I agree. I agree. Talent. What do you think?
Well, I think in the DL situation, DL kind of did it like an oxymoron where he said himself he went to a part of the country that they didn't care about the people, which was kind of weird and backwards to me. If you go to lion's den, you're going to get bit by the lion. Like you put yourself in that place. For me, what we're doing now, I feel totally comfortable with this whole drive-in comedy thing,
Okay.
because when you pull in with your car, you're automatically socially distanced. You're in your car. Everybody's apart from each other. Wait staff comes out of the establishment into the parking lot, takes the order, serves that way, like a takeout thing.
So everybody
And,
stays in. So everybody stays in their car the entire time.
Yes, you're in your car. They have, it's two ways they've been doing it so far. This is going to be the thing for comedians through the summer, probably through October. One way, you ever been one of those silent parties where they have the headphones?
Mm-hmm.
They do some of the drive-ups do that, and then some have what they call a frequency box. So even though it's set up outside with the speakers and the stage, you turn your FM dial to a station, and you get it in your car. Just like you're listening to Fredro Starr and Onyx and all that, you're listening on your radio to the comedy be projected. So that's cool. I'm cool with that through the summer. I don't, for another couple of months, don't book an actual comedy club, like an indoor setting, because I am not comfortable fully yet for that.
That makes perfect sense. And I have to fully agree with you, Fredro. I want to ask you, because right now we've been seeing, it's interesting. It was funny. I kind of laughed when I saw Vanilla Ice was playing this big concert. And then, of course, he, later on, he canceled everything. But he was going to do it with no restrictions at all, like a Trump rally, no restriction at all whatsoever, and just do a big concert. What are your thoughts on doing hip hop concerts and shows right now, the way that like somebody like Vanilla Ice was going to do it?
Nah, right now, it's not cool. I mean, it's this thing. It's the invisible bully,
right?
Like Biggie say, you can't see it coming. So the best thing is just stay at home as much as you can and try to do virtual shows, because you can do shows now on your live IG. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways to do live events. We have a actual live event on a channel called Nug TV, something like that. But you just gotta find creative ways to reach your audience. But as far as like getting out there protesting, that was something that had to be done. So it was like we was willing to risk everything for what we thought was right. You know what I'm saying? So that instance, there was no coronavirus. It was just not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, look past that, because it was a serious situation that's been going on for so long. We just didn't care about that. You know what I mean? Because we had to sacrifice. But nah.
Yeah,
I'm staying in the crib, man.
No. I feel you. So I mean, we're on agreement so far. And interestingly enough, my daughter, I got to give her a shout out, quick, baby Sierra. This is my wife's idea, but we did like a drive-in movie type of a thing at our house, birthday party, where everybody stayed into their car. So it's really like what you was talking about, Talent. And because we had to do things differently. But now, we've all agreed. So now come to Chris Broussard. So this is where we might start disagreeing. And that's in the NBA restart. So my position has been that I don't think it's a good time, and I have the utmost respect for Adam Silver. He is the commissioner that the NFL wishes they had, to be honest with you. What I mean? So the way that he is, conducted everything from Donald Sterling back then to the way he communicates with the players and to the different things. I mean, the players, they might have Black Lives Matter or police accountability on the back of their jerseys. That would never happen in the NFL. But I have to say, I don't think this is a good idea about this NBA restart in this bubble, Chris. I honestly don't. Tell me what you think.
Well, it's several things I want to address first. First of all, a Fredro concert would never be like a Vanilla Ice concert. We know that. not in any way, shape, or form.
That's true. That's true.
And I would say this too about the protesters, kind of jumping off what Fredro said. I'm with you. I mean, I've been basically social distancing. You know, I've for the most part been in my house. I did go to one protest with my family, and you can kind of distance, you know, when you're marching and stuff like that. But when I look at what's been accomplished as far as tearing down a lot of these statues and getting names changed, you know, potentially on at army bases and football teams and things like that, I do think that's been great progress. And I think now it's time to move to the next step, which you don't necessarily need to keep protesting. The next step to me is to start working on some legislation, maybe some proposals for reparations or what have you, and get the lawmakers and politicians involved. So it's not just marching anymore and protesting. So that's in line with social distancing as well. But as far as the NBA, I gotta be honest, number one, man, this thing has become so politicized that it is difficult to know what's the truth.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it is, you watch CNN and MSNBC, you're getting one thing, you watch Fox News and something else, and you're getting a whole nother story. So stuff is definitely blurry. But I'm trying just to believe the doctors and the epidemiologists. Okay. And if they're saying that the NBA in this bubble is safe and okay to do it, then I'm with it, because for the players, like they're going to lose like $1 billion anyway this season. And then the amount of money they'll lose if they don't play at all is even more. And that's really going to hurt the players in the future. So I would like them, like this was even my thinking when Kyrie Irving and some other players have brought up not playing because you don't want to be a distraction to the protest. I'm with that. And I like that line of thinking, because I think our athletes have great power to make change. But I would say, first of all, you got to have a definite, like a great plan in place, number one. And number two, I was saying, go ahead and play this year, get the money up so that you don't have to, you know, the salary cap doesn't drop too much where you lose too much money for the future seasons. And then think about, we'll sit out if we don't get certain demands. So that's my line of thinking. If Florida keeps spiking, then I think they may have to stop. And Etan, I've said this on my radio show. If what we did in March was legitimate, when we stopped, you know, the NBA and all the other leagues for one player, Rudy Gobert had it, and we stopped everything. Okay. We went to a shutdown in the country. If that was legitimate, then I do have to say, why are we even thinking about playing? Here's
my question, Chris. Here's my question, Chris. So the things that you listed were economic reasons. And from an economic standpoint, I do think that it makes perfect sense for the NBA to start. The same way I think for economic reasons, it makes perfect sense for Trump to push for the economy to open back up. But I give NBA Commissioner Adam Silver much more credit than I give Trump. He's not Trump. So he's not going to do things solely for economic reasons. So there has to be a reason where you have to care about people's health and their concerns. So right now we've had, 20 players that have tested positive for the coronavirus so far, for NBA players. We don't know the long-term effects of the coronavirus on your kidney, your liver, whatever. You know, Rudy Gobert, who you mentioned earlier, said that right now, 3 months afterwards, he can't taste the same way. So we don't even know what the final symptoms are. So right now, they're telling me that the best plan, you know, even though I understand it for economic reasons, is to go to the worst place in the country, which is Florida, of coronavirus cases. They're going to have a protective bubble that they put everybody in. The players are going to be quarantined in there, but the people who work there are not going to be quarantined in the bubble. They go out into Florida, which is the worst place in the country of coronavirus cases, and then they come back into the quarantine bubble. It doesn't make logical sense to me.
Yeah, I think, number one, I think the primary reason for the NBA returning is money. Now, I think Adam, as you know, I have respect for Adam as well, and I think he does care about the health of the players. But, man, he works for those owners. And this is about money. If money wasn't really an issue, I don't think they'd be coming back. And so I think the players feel that way too. I think Chris Paul, the Players Association, and many players are strictly going back for the money too. Because I've been told that a lot of players that are going back really don't want to play, but they understand that the owners, a collective bargaining agreement is coming up soon, and the word is that the owners are going to come hard at them if they lose this money.
But again, that's all for economic reasons. And this is my question.
I hear you, but and it's beyond that too, because you got people in the league office, many of whom are African American, that are pushing for them to play as well. And I hear you. And like I said, I wouldn't have any issues if they did cancel the season. But I at some point you do have to factor in economic reasons. At some point, and that's throughout society, not just in sports.
And I definitely think you have to factor in economic reasons and talent. Let me go back to you real quick, but I think that when you're looking at, when there's only economic reasons, I mean, so you're looking at the details of going back to work right now in this economy, and you look at the details as far as who is more susceptible to catching the virus. Me, I would be more susceptible. Y'all know that I had open heart surgery when I was playing with the Wizards. So now my immune system is compromised. So I'm in that group of people that could be more susceptible for catching the virus. But then you have other people, like the people who are older, who are in the group, which is the people. Most of the coaches are in that group. You know what I mean? On the staff, a lot of the staff are also older. The announcers, the commentators, besides the young, youthful Chris Broussard, but we got a whole lot of old fogies that are coming in there that have been around for a long time. And they're also putting themselves more at risk as well. To me, as I'm looking at the unknown, it just seems like it's not worth it to do any of it. And I mean, that's my position as I see the numbers spiking everywhere, and all the places that happen to be red states that are now spiking everywhere and now starting to maybe pull back on their opening up. What do you think?
Hey, Tom, but let me say this. When we say economic reasons, we're looking at it one-fold. We're looking at the league and the billion they're going to lose. Let's break it down to a more minute position, and let's look at these individuals as people who are out of work, right? And let's look at everybody's situation being a different situation. The reason why Kyrie's thing, I think, probably doesn't resonate with the majority of players is because I'm not getting the Kyrie check. Kyrie's getting a different check and has a different situation than your average NBA player, as you know. So when you break the economic reason down to each family and each household and how they still got people depend on them and they want to go to work so that they can keep that economy going, that personal economy, not the overall structure of the league going to lose $1 billion, but let's break it back down to my thousands where I'm dishing these thousands out to either raise my kids because we don't know what the future is going to hold. Right. So right now, every ducat in the bucket counts. So even me, as afraid as I am, I had to come to a working compromise so that if the opportunity permits itself, I'm working for less money. I'm doing it unconventionally than what I'm used to. But that's my compromise so that my economic reasons, which is this household and raising these kids, and kids still got to go to school, whether it's virtual or not, that's still got to get paid. Ain't no school come to me yet and say, hey, talent, don't worry about the bill. It's a pandemic. Don't worry about the bill. People, if you listen closely, even our politicians, they're double talking, right? So they say stuff like, hey, we're going to halt evictions. We're going to halt rents and all that stuff. Halting means it's stacking up. You didn't eliminate it. Right. Like you didn't make my living situation fit the pandemic, so to speak, and being out of work. Right. They're like a pause where it stacks up. So every month, if my rent is $3,000, every month is still stacking up. So by the time we so-called get the cure and everybody gets back to normal and can go to work, I'm $100,000 in the hole or whatever it is. A year and a half later, them threes are adding up.
And I agree, and I agree 100%. But my question is, at what point do you put your health above that? And I understand that people have different situations, but you're no good to your family if you're not here. If you're on a ventilator and you're in the hospital, you know what I mean?
You're no good if you're homeless either. So we gotta is a juggle right there. I like what you said. You made a good point of when you said, hey, we're gonna put these people in the bubble. Everybody that needs to deal with that, from the team doctors to the coaches. Everybody needs to be in. Every staff member needs to be in that bubble.
But they're not.
You said, but I'm saying that you said what would be my Band-Aid to this thing.
The NBA could pay for that. You could pay for the employees to live in the bubble.
But that's not. But that's not on the table.
Where the money comes in. Here, I would say this to you, Etan. If I'm Mike D'Antoni, who's 69,
right,
and I'm Alvin Gentry, who's 65,
most of the coaches. You can name most of the coaches. They're all in that. Like really, all of them.
They're over 65, including Popovich. Yeah, I'm so Jellic pulled out. If I'm Alvin Gentry, I don't know why he's going because they're not winning it anyway.
I mean, that's not the point.
Even if they were winning, I wouldn't go.
I feel you. But that ain't the point. Emerald, let me ask you this because going back to the social activism piece, and we're talking about, we do a lot. You do a lot of work with Reverend Sharpton. I do a lot of work with Reverend Sharpton. We have a lot of respect for Reverend Sharpton, right? Now he's calling on a big march that's going to happen in DC. I think in August, September, something like that. And my first thought was, ooh, I don't know if that's the right time for this. Honestly, that was my first thought. What is your reaction?
Well, I'm in the at-risk group because I'm chronic asthmatic and I have 3 kids at home. As you know, my sister passed away of a massive heart attack at 27, and I'm raising her 2 kids along with my own child. And I'm taking care of my grandmother who's 95. And I'm afraid to go. Everyone's making all these plans and, oh, Emerald, are you going? And, I'm a little afraid because I'm like, I've been to a couple of protests in New York, passing by. I was outside and I seen a protest and I just stopped by to say hi to the people. And I went to a march on June 20th that my cousin put together. There was social distance and it wasn't a huge crowd. I would say it was like less than 50 people. And I felt a little comfortable, but this one is going to bring out the masses.
Right.
And when Reverend Sharpton calls a march, everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to go, they get on buses and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what the layout is going to be. Like, I honestly don't think that I'm going to make it because of, the spike in the coronavirus and everything. But I want to see the layout because, the charter buses is 2 seats per row. You can't really open windows on a charter bus. Like, nobody wants to get on the school bus. So, it's going to be kind of difficult to, put that together, but I'm sure that they have a master plan and they're getting it together, but I'm definitely a little afraid.
Yeah, and for good reason. And we'll see how everything plays out. I just think that right now, where we are in this society, and we're getting a lot of bad advice every time that Trump opens his mouth, and that doesn't help at all. But I want to, before, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to touch on this topic as well. And I'm going to kick it to Fredro. Kanye West, all right? Kanye West is running for president, right? He's running for president. And I'm somebody who always applaud, athletes, entertainers, rappers, actors, everybody for using their platform, even when I disagree with them. But I got to be honest with you. Kanye West is a big question mark. I don't know where my man coming from. Help me out on it, Fredro.
Everything Kanye West say, people criticize. Say, he shouldn't have did that. But look what happens. You know what I'm saying? He always comes out right, it seems. You know what I'm saying? Like, he always comes out on the right side of his decision to do whatever he does, even though it seems crazy, right? So, Kanye West running for president, he's hip hop, so I gotta rock with hip hop over everything. You know what I'm saying? Like all the Biden, Trumps, all of the candidates ain't hip hop. They're not for the culture. So if we can get Kanye West in there a little bit, I think the weed laws would be better. You know what I'm saying? Because look, you gotta understand though. Kanye West has the biggest power over Trump and all of them. He has the hip hop culture, and music brings. I always say music, hip hop brings races together.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go to Russia, you can go to Germany, right? It doesn't matter. Hip hop brings because they are part of the culture now. Because they're getting it on the internet, they're getting it from everywhere. So Kanye West has more power than all of the candidates because he has the hip hop culture, he has the music behind him.
Yeah, okay. I feel you. You know what I mean? And I feel you, and I respect that. But I honestly don't know where Kanye West be coming from. Like, okay, we
He's
did.
not gonna win. We know that. Maybe I can't. Maybe. Like I said, he got.
Listen, we didn't think Trump was gonna win either.
That's true, though. That's true. But I don't even know where. So he's running as a Republican. So is he? So I mean, he could take votes away from Trump. I mean, that's one thing I thought about. Honestly, I don't even know. Is it too late for him to come in? They've already had the primaries. I'm not an expert on how politics work.
As an independent, I mean, I don't know what he like. You're right. I mean, it's in a couple months. I think, man. Look, I support Kanye. Like Fredro said, I like that he's hip hop. I support his spiritual awakening. But we've had almost 4 years now of a reality TV president, and Kanye's black, but he still would be a reality TV president. Like he wouldn't know. I don't think he'd know what he was doing. Just like Trump don't know what he's doing. I think he talk off the top of his head like Trump does.
Like Trump, yeah.
I think he's emotional. We've seen him just blurt out things.
Right.
I mean, so is Trump, though. I mean, you're making a case. You're making the wrong case. I'm like, well, that's Trump.
I think he would be. I mean, policies aside, as far as his character, not character, but just his demeanor, I think he'd be like Trump. And we know Trump is not presidential. I don't feel like Kanye would be presidential either. I think we really need somebody in there. Like this coronavirus has really Trump was exposed before to many people, but his handling of this has exposed him to everybody. You would think
though, Chris, you would think it would expose everybody. But when I look at the Republicans and how the Republicans came down to my hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? They came in there, no masks. They said, we don't need to worry about no masks because Trump said we don't need to worry about it. You know, they came, it's like a brainwashing. It's like a cult. You remember that movie, Children of the Corn, where all the little white kids and their eyes would turn? That's what I think of when I see the Trump supporters. It's like anything he says, they believe. It's the weirdest thing that I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Kanye's off his rocker, right? But he's a genius at what he does. And the one thing I think that we cannot look forward to, even if he was to win, he's not going to be as divisive. You know what I mean? My biggest problem has become with Trump. I've come, after 2 years, I've come to the conclusion, okay, he is what he is. 4 or 5 is what he is. He's going to be what he is. But it's the divisiveness which makes me have this disdain for the brother. You know what I mean? Like this, now I got to cut you all the way off and separate from you. Now your verbiage changes like your president, not my president. Right. Your president, not my president. Because the divisiveness, man, everybody knows one thing we can agree on. We don't need that right now. This is about to explode.
I agree. And it's getting bad.
Go
ahead, Fredro.
Running for president, and I really don't like any of them. You know, somebody like Jay-Z would be a good president. You know what I'm saying? If he was representing hip hop culture instead of Kanye West, but I'm going with Kanye, Team Kanye.
I don't, Fredro, you my man. I don't know if I could do Team Kanye. I don't know if I can do it. But hey, that was quick. That was a quick half hour. I appreciate all y'all for coming on. And listen, this is a preview of what we're going to be able to do going forward with all HBCUs. You know, it's important that we support HBCUs. I love the fact we didn't even get a chance to talk about McCurr going to Howard and what that means for HBCUs. You know, I hope Mikey Williams follows him and goes to, if they team up and go to Howard, it'd be amazing, to be honest with you. I mean, there's an awakening of the importance of HBCUs because for a while, it's like people started to, and when I say people, I mean mainstream America, started to not think that HBCUs were important anymore, or that they were needed or necessary, or didn't understand the value of it. And of course, I think sometimes some of us buy into that notion that mainstream America tries to push out. But that's why what I love what HBCU Heroes is doing. I love this program. So thank you all for taking time out to be a part of this. And please, everyone, enjoy the rest of the program. And we'll be back. You'll see more of us with this debate series. Bless.
Peace.